away go the cars then at the start of this formation lap. Anderlecht leading the way with Frank Montani next to him. There towards the back of the grid is Narenkaart again for PSV, the club that probably has most support here this weekend, the only Dutch club, of course, involved in Superleague Formula. And we'll quickly run through that order once again. It is Anderlecht on pole position, Bordeaux joining them on the front row. Then the red and white car of Flamengo, followed by the AS Roma machine. See Milan coming through and Jelmer Berman driving for them. The Dutch driver who had good success towards the end of last year at Jarama. Looking at some of the others to watch out for, the blue car of Alvaro Perez. He'll be pretty quick, I think. And watch out also, of course, for there, Bordeaux in the Lyon car. There, the white, blue and yellow car of Tottenham. The Tottenham colours for Craig Dolby, because we know how good he is at overtaking people.
Yeah, he's exceptionally good with that. He's always producing a great show, and I think he has a better setup today than what he had yesterday in the qualifying, so he should be much faster.
Yeah, he was disappointed with the way the front end of the car was responding in qualifying. Said it felt quite different to Silverstone, but they've obviously made some changes.
Yeah, well, I think it was the same as Silverstone, and then they just put in the car a completely new front end to see what it's going to be like. And John Martin had a try. He liked it. He didn't push enough because it was a bit of a surprise how good the car was, and they could have gone beyond what he did, but he just didn't know. So it's going to be interesting. And Bordeaux as well should do well, because they had a problem yesterday in quali. Their tire warmers didn't work so well, so he had kind of cold tires and low pressures when he went.
So we can expect, as you say, Bordeaux to come through, maybe to watch Dolby come through. But up front, the man with the advantage, no doubt about it, is this guy, Davide Rigon for Anderlecht. Do remember, however, the way they finish this race will be a complete reverse grid for the second race of the day. So even if somebody's completely out of luck in this race, there's always a chance in Superleague Formula that you can come back in the second race of the day and score useful points. There are 50 points on offer to the winner of each of these two 45-minute races. But don't forget that all-important pit stop, which will be at any time after 15 minutes of the race has been run, a 10-minute pit window which they have to make their pit stop, and then it's racing to the checkered flag. They're coming around the latter part of the lap now and desperately trying to get some heat in the tyres.
Yeah, it is very important with those tyres, those cars, to get heat in the front wheels, because otherwise you've got lots of understeer for the first few laps and you put yourself in a dangerous position.
Cars are beginning to line up. We've got an air temperature of 13 degrees, a track temperature of 25 degrees. And as they come up through the final corner, tricky to get into formation here. It is Anderlecht leading the way as we get the first race of the day at Assen underway as they spread their way through, but it's going to be a battle into the first corner. Anderlecht on the inside, Bordeaux on the outside. They go straight through the first corner safely. Flamengo in third place, Roma in fourth, so the top four pretty much in qualifying order. You had a little look at Jelmer Berman trying to come down the inside for sixth place, but he didn't quite make it there, I think, in the black and red car. But everybody so far making it round. And who's making moves? Well, Marcos Martinez on the inside, Parent on the outside in the blue and white car. He's trying to go around the outside and spanning it off that Sporting Lisbon.
Yeah, Borja Garcia.
Borja Garcia, yeah, he's in the gravel. He's not going to come back from there, is he?
Very bad weekend so far for Borja. Had problems in the testing, qualifying, just had a few laps. As we are having an eye on Frank Pereira and the Flamengo car, who's being attacked a little bit by another Frenchman, Julien Jousse.
And we're on board with Julien Jousse, so this is the battle for third. He's got Frank Pereira immediately ahead in the Flamengo car. Count them through, try and see Lyon, I think, and Tottenham, yes, both going through together, interestingly. Then Liverpool and Beijing. So I think both Bordeaux and Dolby might have gained a place or two, and interestingly, they're now together.
Yes, and they have to be a little bit clever at this stage of the race. That's Borja Garcia, who just went off, to try to help each other to move up the field and not just disturb each other trying to attack each other. They just have to be a little bit clever just now.
Jelmer Berman again, the one on the look up the inside there in the black and red AC Milan car. Across the line they go then. Anderlecht leading from Bordeaux. Then a little gap back. Look at this going on further back because it is... Oh, Bordeaux! Oh, contact! Porto in trouble there. Made contact with Sebastian Bourdais. Damage to the front of Sebastian Bourdais' car. The Lyon car is in trouble. Front wing is broken. And that could be the end of the race for him.
It is the end of the race for him. He's probably going to have a puncture before he gets back to the pits with the front right tyre. Well, what happened is that Dolby was on the outside, Bourdais was on the inside. Dolby kind of defended and moved towards the inside. He didn't know that Bourdais was just there on the inside making a move as well, but they would have never gone through the first corner altogether. Parente wanted to, he didn't do anything wrong. He just moved away from Dolby that was moving on the inside, doing a bit of an intimidation move, and poor Bourdais was inside and got pushed away.
Oh, that's terrible news for Lyon, for Sébastien Bourdais, race winner at Silverstone, and he's out of the race already. It means, of course, he will start on pole position for the second race of the day, and well, a little bit like Silverstone, really. It's the second race that he's going to have to count on. But up front, what's happening up front? Anderlecht still leading, Bordeaux in second, Flamengo still in third place, and then Roma and followed by Milan, and it's Milan, Jelmer Berman on the charge.
Yes, you can see that the two leaders are flying. Anderlecht is away, Franck Montagny following, and Frank Pereira is struggling a little bit, and he's blocking a little bit AS Roma and Jelmer Berman. So he has to build up his confidence and find a better rhythm to try to follow the leaders.
Yeah, that's the challenge. Meanwhile, Tottenham's up to 10th place now. So having started in 13th place, Craig Dolby has gained places, but of course it was partly as a result of that incident between Bourdais and Parent. Porto is also still running at the moment, I think. Yes, they're still in 11th. We're on board though with Jelmer Berman here for AC Milan, and he's currently sitting in 5th place, and here he's got a great run going. He's using the push to pass, using the extra horsepower, but can he convert it into the position? Oh, he's off using the extra bit of track. Surely he won't. He has to use this little escape road. Comes back in, no change.
No change, and he didn't lose much time either. He used the push to pass a little bit too late, I think.
Difficult though, it's a fairly short straight, isn't it?
Yeah, very hard, and when the driver in front of you defends and keeps the inside line, it's never going to make your life easy.
They have 8 opportunities to use that push to pass button throughout the race, but once you've used it, you have to wait 2 minutes before you can use it again. So there's no way now that Jelmer Berman can use that push to pass for a little while. It'll be the next lap at least before he can use it again. Meanwhile, up front, no doubt about a good drive this from David Rigon, who's pulling away in the lead. Tottenham, in fact, he's not pulling away that much. Franck Montagny's got a bit closer this time. So a quicker lap there from Franck Montagny, and he is still right in behind the Anderlecht car. Battle up front. We're on board with the race leader.
Yeah, for some reason, David Rigon did a slow lap on the last lap, 26.5. He was about 1 second slower than the previous lap, and Franck Montagny did a very good lap, so that's why they're together again, and he's going to be able to put the pressure on Davide again. So that's interesting.
So let's just watch on board. You've got the telemetry. The gear change up on the right throttle, and there's Franck Montagny for Bordeaux, still tucked in behind him. These two have really run away from Flamengo, running in 3rd place. Frank Pereira still holding on to that 3rd from Roma, and then Milan. Galatasaray 6th, we've got Basel running 7th, Seville 8th, Olympiacos in 9th, and Tottenham in 10th. Another look at the start here. Bruce, talk us through it.
Yeah, everybody from the back had a very good momentum, a better momentum, like around the 5th, 6th place, and you can see all the cars being very well together. Franck Montagny was clever and didn't fight so much, let the door open to David Rigon to make sure he could close the door behind him. As we were having a look again, look, Frank had a very good start. They were side by side trying to push David Rigon on the inside, but then gives up and comes back straight behind him to make sure Frank Pereira doesn't have any place basically to make a move towards him.
Yeah, that was all pretty sensible up front, and he's still close, isn't he? Yeah, David Rigon still leading for Anderlecht, but the gap just half a second between these two. Great race going on between the top two. A little bit of a lonely 3rd, and here comes Jelmer Berman again. He's still trying to get past Julien Jus. He's looking to one side, he looks to the other. Into turn 1, there's no space there. Can he come back on the exit and try and get him through turn 2? It's going to be tight. Oh, can they make it? My goodness, that was close. Well driven from both of them.
Yeah, well driven from both of them. Basically, Julien Jus was on his line. There wasn't much space on the inside, but the grass, and Jelmer had to go through there. Not enough momentum though to try to make a move on the braking, and now Tristan Gomendi and Max Wissel from FC Basel and Galatasaray are together right behind them.
Yeah, so that's closed this battle up, and look at this. Galatasaray and Basel going to go. Suddenly Basel's taken the place. Max Wissel has taken full advantage there in the multicoloured car, and he has gained 1 position, and he's gone up into 6th place.
Yeah, and that's Narain Kartikeyan from PSV Eindhoven that just spun at the exit of turn 4, and he goes again.
Yep, he was running pretty much towards the back, although right at the back is Maria de Villota for Atletico Madrid. I think she's gone through, so he is now right at the back. And we're back with the race leader. There he is. Anderlecht. In fact, he's pulled away again a little bit on this lap.
Yeah, 2 tenths, and maybe this lap again another 2 or 3 tenths. Yeah, probably another 3 tenths on this lap. And also I wanted to say that it was pretty clever from Sébastien Bourdais. You saw him stop on the side of the track. The car could still run, but he saved his tyres and probably saved some more damage on the car.
True, but on the other hand, they've got less time to fix the car when he comes back. But hopefully the damage is not too great. So we're looking from the rear wing now of your race leader as he comes around this first section, the Ossenbrocken, and then up into the tight left-hander at Strubben. This is the slowest corner. It's down to around 60 kilometers per hour through there, as you could see. And then this is onto the back stretch where we saw some use of the push to pass button. They're getting up to 240, 250 kilometers per hour here before getting onto the brakes once again and then turning in. And you can see, we've got problems for Maria now. Maria de Vallota, she has spun in the Atletico. Has she spun or has it just stopped? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure which corner it is, probably turn 1. And she's still, there is some rubber on the track just behind the car if you look under the back wing, so she probably spun.
Let's take a look. This is her heading down into turn 1. What happened?
Yep, too much speed, then probably on the brakes at the apex, hit the curb and spun. So it's a heavy car. Yeah, it is. Now the question is whether it may have stalled, whether she can restart it. They had an electrical problem with that car in qualifying. She didn't do any qualifying. This is what happened to PSV. Contact with the Beijing car of John Martin. That's what caused the spin. Yeah, Narain Karthikeyan is a racer. He's always going to try. He's always going to push, and it didn't work this time.
So we'll have to see what happens later on that one. But up front at the moment, Anderlecht still leading this race with a gap of 1.4 seconds. So he has managed to just ease it out a little bit. Second place still Frank Montagny. There he is for Bordeaux. Now, remember the clock is ticking away. We've only had 9 minutes or so of the race so far. Once we've had 15 minutes, then the pit lane will open up and they'll be able to come in for their tyre change. And that could indeed change the whole complexion of this race. Galatasaray there in the yellow and red colours, the famous yellow and red colours, running in 7th place. Seville locking up, that's Marcos Martinez, and look who's behind them, it's Craig Dolby for Tottenham.
Yes, and Tristan Gomendi is having difficulties with his car, has turning oversteer, and there you go, everybody's pushing behind him. He's creating a bit of a traffic, so everybody is trying to make a move. Just taking it easy, trying to wait for a better opportunity, basically. That's Craig Dolby. That's a useless move from Marco Martinez, but I guess he just wants to show that he's there pushing Tristan Gomendi and telling him, be careful because I'm about to make a move on you.
This could be quite fun because Dolby will try and take advantage of this, won't he? And he is very wise about finding a bit of space where no one else seems to. And Tristan Gomendi for Galatasaray holding on to this position for the moment. So he's sitting there in 7th, 8th place currently for the Seville car of Marcos Martinez, 9th place for Tottenham. There is Craig Dolby, the championship leader. What a stunning event. He had a solace, and here comes Martinez. A little look up into the chicane, but never really on.
No, and now Craig Dolby is fully on it. Too early on the power. Slide oversteer, but he's still in the tow. He's going to try to make a move on the inside. He's a little bit too far.
Yeah, a bit too far back, and therefore couldn't quite take advantage of it. As you say, just got a bit too sideways out of the chicane. I wonder if he went to use his extra power on that. Maybe that was the reason, I don't know. But the push to pass, worth about another 50 brake horsepower, gives them another 1,000 revs to use. So it really is very valuable.
Yeah, it is. The thing is, it's a tricky situation for Marco Martinez because you want to try to make a move on the car in front of you. But when you try to make a move, if you don't succeed to overtake, then you put yourself in a bad situation because you slow down, you lose some momentum, and the guy behind you is going to try to overtake you. So it's a bit tricky.
It is hard, yes. I've just seen Olympiakos come in the pits, and that's a bit too early for a normal pit stop, so there may be a problem for Chris van der Drift and the Olympiakos car, but we're waiting for the pit lane to open up in about 3 or 4 minutes' time before they're ready to come in for their obligatory pit stop. The race order, it's Anderlecht up front, still leading this race from Bordeaux, but we're riding with 9th place Tottenham, who's still in this battle of 3. He's got the Seville car of Marcos Martinez immediately ahead, and then the Galatasaray car of Tristan Gomendi. This gives us a good opportunity to have a look around the circuit. There are the race leaders then as they come past the start-finish line. A lonely third is the Flamengo car, and there is confirmation. I thought I saw the Olympiakos car in the pits, and it's obviously a major problem.
Yeah, there is a problem there. Something interesting.
This is Dolby on the attack. Dolby's got maybe one. They're going 3 abreast into turn 1. Can he make this work? Galatasaray's been passed by Seville. Can Dolby now take advantage of it? No, he can't. because he got on the outside there, and there's no hold. Tristan Comedy trying to retake the place from Seville. Wonderful action further down the order, and remember, you get points all the way down the order, so it's crucial to battle for each and every point. They're being caught, by the way, by Liverpool, the reigning champions. James Walker. Bit of radio communication there as well, but Dolby engaged in battle. Meanwhile, Max Wissel has caught AS Roma, so you've got the Basel car you're riding on board with now, and he's caught Julien Jus, hasn't he, over the last lap?
Yeah, he has. Julien Jus was slowed down initially by Flamengo, but Flamengo has now sort of a good pace. He's lapping 5/10 quicker than Roma and Max Wissel, so Max Wissel is on the go on AS Roma, and he's going to try to make a move somewhere.
On board with Max Wissel. He's still only 20 years old, but he's now in his third season of Super League, and he has a very good driving style for these Super League cars. An excellent pole position at Silverstone, converted that into a couple of solid results. He didn't get the victory after spinning in the wet, but he fought his way back very effectively to score useful points. Cross the line they go. Is he going to go on the attack here? As they come down to turn one, he's not quite close enough. You can see it's a little short shoot. There was a bit of a battle going on behind. Tottenham still battling there as well, and in fact there's been a change. Yeah, Dolby's got past, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. He got past Tristan Gomendi somewhere. Good move, and there is James Walker with Liverpool now just behind Tristan Gomendi. Tristan Gomendi, who is having a hard time driving his car and trying to find some grip. He has to slow down the car a lot in the corners.
Now this is how Dolby did it. Well, this is looking ahead. You can see, in fact, interestingly, Gomendi had got back ahead of Seville, I think, and then Dolby went to the outside. This is the earlier section when they ran three abreast into the first corner. In fact, he didn't get past on this occasion, but that was a pretty close bit of racing. It
was very close indeed. The first corner is pretty tight, and to get three cars going through without contact, it's a good job.
So that was when he failed to get past, but he has now got past Galatasaray, chasing after Seville. So Seville has eased away a little bit. Marcos Martinez put in a pretty good lap. Be interesting to see what sort of lap time Dolby does on this one, because he's now got a bit of clear space, isn't he?
Yeah, he does. Well, the lap time at the back of the field is a little bit not so good because it's a bit messy and they're all fighting together, but it's going to be interesting on this lap to see what Dolby does. About lap time, I have to say it's very interesting at the front with Anderlecht and Franck Montagny, because they're lapping exactly in the same lap times, even though I think David Erigon has been using a bit of pushes to pass, and that's why he was lapping so fast at the early stages of the race. They're lapping about the same. The difference is 1.6 seconds between the two cars.
But look at the lap that Tottenham has just done. It's a personal best at 1:26.4. So Dolby is flying now that he's got past.
Yeah, he is. It means that he has the pace, and that if he can manage to do a good pit stop and find some room in front of him on the track, he could move back up the field.
Look at the top left of the screen. The pit window has opened because we've had 15 minutes. So you now have a new graphic at the top of the screen telling you when the pit lane closes. 9 minutes and a half to go. So the pit stops will be coming in quite a flurry over the next few laps. Who's going to come in early? Who's going to leave it later? We're about to find out. Just saw the Porto car still running in 11th. James Walker here for Liverpool. He's running in 10th, and we're riding on board with him.
Yes, James Walker, who wants to finish a race and score some points because he hasn't in Silverstone.
Yeah, that was disappointing. No points. Now, who's going to come in here? Oh, no, he's not coming in. The pit lane entry is actually just before this final chicane, so neither of the leaders have decided to come in early.
No, I think both of the leaders are going to try to come in late, and Franck Montagny is going to look at what David Erigon is going to do. Franck Montagny has a really good engineer who's extremely good in strategy because he's an endurance racing engineer. He's going to calculate where Franck is going to come back on the track and if he's going to hit some traffic after the pit stop.
But we are seeing some people coming in the pits. Flamengo's come in, so has AC Milan. There's Jelmer Berman. And remember, he's been pushing pretty hard in this race so far. The Dutch driver, Basil, has come in as well. There's a problem there. He stalled it. Berman has stalled it. He needs a push. He says push, push, push. Oh, that's disappointing for AC Milan. What about Basil? Will this one work? Only 6 guys allowed to work on the car, 1 on each corner, and the Jackman, and he gets away cleanly. That was a pretty good stop. Oh, and AC Milan still sits there. Eventually he gets going. He's on a new set of tyres, but he won't get much use out of those, I'm afraid, because they've lost so much time on that pit stop. Bitterly disappointing for the Dutch driver, with a lot of fans supporting him here, despite driving for an Italian football club, but that really went wrong. Leader's still out there, and it's still Anderlecht ahead of Bordeaux in second.
very good in-lap for it was AC Milan, as Noren Katikayan is putting all tires, has a good pit stop, but he's right at the back. Yes, Jelmer Berman did the 24.6 pit stop, so it means it was in lap, which means he made up 2 seconds on the cars in front of him.
But it was all lost in the pits when the engine stalled.
That's
a great shame.
Yep.
So we'll keep an eye on that. Interestingly, Davide Rigon has opened up the gap up front a little bit, leading into the pit stops. He is really going for it now, and into the pits come the leaders. So they've both come in together. Look at how Montagny, he must have been very fast into pit lane, because he's closed right up.
Yes, like yesterday we were looking at on the side of the track, they were training to get in as fast as possible, as they're having a bit of a problem with the front jack. Seems okay. No, he's losing some time. He's lost a lot of time to Davide Rigon.
That's a shame.
Yeah, it was his opportunity in the pit lane to try to make a move or to try to overtake him. Now it's going to be difficult.
It is going to be hard. They rejoined the track. There's a little battle still going on behind them. Now, not having come in yet, Seville. So Seville now will become the race leader. Porto in and out. That looks straightforward, the bit that we saw anyway. And he heads down the pit lane at the speed limit. Alvaro Parent hoping to make up some ground, had that contact, if you remember, early on in this race that was responsible for Bourdais no longer being in this race, but it was a bit of a racing incident between 3 cars, Tottenham, Porto and Lyon. There is your current race leader then. It is the Seville car of Marcos Martinez. Hasn't been into the pits yet, so we're still waiting for them to pit. Look at the graphic. Those cars that have pitted, obviously with the P next to their club name, and those that have not, Seville, Tottenham, Galatasaray and Corinthians, they're now running top 4. And here we've got a battle going on as AC Milan has come back out just ahead of Liverpool, and both of them have stopped. Liverpool have gained, AC Milan have lost out, but they're racing hard for position.
Yes, and a good defending move from AC Milan. Jelmer Berman, but James Walker is right up there and he's going to come back. He seems pretty competitive and fast to me. Third gear corner, hits the apex, back onto the throttle nice and easy.
I spoke to James this morning and he was very confident that the race setup on the car was going to be good. He knew where he'd missed out a little bit in qualifying, and that seems to be borne up by the facts here as well.
Yeah, it surely does work. 6th, max out, nearly on the limiter.
Let's get some news from the pits and find out what happened to Chris van der Drift of Olympiacos.
Just be careful.
What happened?
I just had a bit of a gearbox problem from the beginning of the race, and it just got worse and worse, and I lost all my gears at the end, so no more.
The only good thing, that means that you're going to start at the top of the grid, but these other guys are going to have so many more laps on you. Is that going to cause a problem?
Yeah, obviously, it would have been nice to have more laps to see how the car was through the race. But yeah, hopefully we can fix it so we can, at least do the second race and then get some points in that at least.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Abby. Well, up front, it's still Seville leading, Tottenham in second. These guys are leaving their pit stops till a little later than the others, but they'll have to watch out and see if this tactic works, because those that have been able to switch on to new tyres, obviously, if they've managed to come out in clear air, are going to be going very quickly now.
Yeah, exactly. So depending on which type of tyres you've got, and I don't think Marco Martinez neither Craig Dobby have got really good tyres, they need to stop quite quick. Even though they have a very clean track with no one there and no traffic.
New fastest lap has just been set by AC Milan. Jelmer Berman, who had that very slow pit stop, but he is going very fast on track. And another new fastest lap for former race leader Anderlecht. Davide Rigon on new tyres has just done a 1:24.9. Into the pits comes Galatasaray now. So Tristan Gomedy, has he got a new set to put on? Yes, he has. Nice shiny new slicks going on, I think, so he'll be quick.
That's why he was slow. He has a front nose which is broken. That's why he's a little bit slow in the straights, and why the aerodynamics of the car are not probably working so well.
Oh, well spotted. So that's why he was struggling a little bit. Corinthians rejoining as well, but Porto going through that first turn, and Alvaro Parent might have a chance here on Tristan Gomedy because his tyres are obviously up to temperature, where meanwhile Gomedy with brand new slicks on, which only take a corner or so to come in, and having got through that section safely, he should be safe enough.
Yeah, he should be safe, especially knowing that he has new tyres, he has very good traction. And I'm wondering, with such a big hole in the front nose, he won't have any warming up problems for himself. I mean, he's not hot.
Oh, he's locked up big time.
Go straight
across the shortcut.
Will he rejoin in front of Alvaro Parente? No, Alvaro Parente made a move.
So he's gained that place. Big lock-up on the new tyres, wasn't it? You could just see a puff of smoke, and suddenly he shot down the escape road.
Yeah, probably the tyres not quite up to temperature, especially the front tyres. It's easy to keep the rear tyres up to temperature. And Franck Montagny stopped in the inside.
Oh, the man who was running second. What has happened to Porto? Franck Montagny. Major dramas. Meanwhile, Tottenham's in the pits. Seville's still out there leading this race. But Franck Montagny, something's gone wrong, and he's not going to finish either. So, Craig Dolby gets going, hits the speed limit button, climbs out of the pits, and we're on board with the man who is effectively leading this race if we take the pit stops into account. But right now, Seville's still leading because they haven't come into the pit lane. David Enrigon, what has happened to Montagny? We don't quite know, but that's desperately disappointing because they were all set for a big bunch of points here today.
Quickest lap of the race from AC Milan, 24.3. It's an extremely good lap. It's the sort of lap time that we could see in qualifying, except they have more fuel on board.
Now this is an interesting one as we see Montagny clamber out of his car. Where Tottenham has rejoined is with Liverpool. Remember how these two clubs fought for the title last year. Tottenham were runners-up, Liverpool were champions. It was Adrian Valliers driving for Liverpool last year. Now it's James Walker, but he's every bit as quick and as competitive, and he'll put Dolby under pressure. But of course, remember, Dolby's only just come out of the pits, so he may be in better shape on his tyres perhaps for these next few laps, and he will be trying to take advantage. Good stop by the Liverpool crew because they've really got James Walker into the mix during those pit stops.
Oh, he runs wide. He's going to have a bad exit. Can he try to make a move on the outside? No, there is not enough.
Oh, the team telling them to use the push to pass, and he's got a chance.
Not the right place to try.
Just can't get alongside there.
No, the track is too narrow.
Race leader Seville into the pits for their stop. Looked like he almost took the air gun with him, but I think he got away with it. And that means that, of course, Anderlecht...
No, he didn't. The wheel wasn't attached properly.
Oh, dear. Marcos Martinez pulls to the side, thankfully, before he gets out onto the circuit.
Yeah, well spotted, Ben. He actually, I think the mechanic was still attached to the wheel when he moved away.
Yeah, so easy to go too early. Back on board with Liverpool. That mistake by Dolby, my goodness, nearly lost him the place. They are running in 7th and 8th places, these two, so that's what they're fighting for now, 7th place. So it's been a good climb for both of them, really. There's that right front wheel,
yeah.
Very drunken angle. And so that's obviously wasn't properly attached in the pit stop. And here comes Walker trying to get past Dolby, but Dolby protects to the inside, no way through.
No way through, and no way through for the next few corners either. The only place you can try to make a move, it's exiting the last turn into turn 1 and into turn 3 and 4 if you use the push to pass.
So Anderlecht currently leading this race with the pit stops having been settled, and of course they're the car that was leading for a while. During the pit stops, the wheel has been reattached. Oh, you can feel the disappointment for those guys. Are they going to send it back out? I don't know. Let's take another look at this stop. It's the right front that we're looking at, and he's trying to get it on. Oh, no. He actually waves his hand, doesn't he?
Yes.
So that must have been confusing because it looked almost as though he was giving the signal. But I think what he was trying to say was, hang on, I've got a problem. But they need to sort out their signalling a little bit.
Yeah, they need to do that. And they came to fix the wheel, good thing, but they didn't have the starter motor, so they couldn't start the engine anymore.
Oh dear. Pit window is closed now. Everybody has, I think, made their obligatory stop, those that are still running. But it's been the main loser is Seville. The other bit of a loser was definitely the AC Milan car. Although, having said that, AC Milan is still running in 5th place, you know, after that terrible stop. I'm amazed that Jelmer Berman is still running in 5th place. So with that quick in-lap that he did, and obviously he got out at a good time, just think where he could have been in this race.
And look at this, 123.5, which is quicker than pole position.
Wow. And that is AC Milan. So
yes, that's
Jelmer
why
Berman,
he's moving up the field.
He is absolutely flying, isn't he? What an impressive run. There's Basel. Now they've moved up to 3rd. That was a great round of stops for Basel. There's Roma in 4th, so that's pretty similar to where they were, but there's one of the biggest losers in this race. That's Franck Montagny. Well, he's an experienced driver. He's been in this situation, but it's still desperately disappointing when you're heading for a podium and something goes wrong. Leader through, and there's 2nd place Flamengo, the red, white and black colours of the Brazilian club. Basel, a brilliant 3rd after a superb round of pit stops from them. There's Roma. Now there's the fastest car on track. despite that slow stop, there is Jelmer Berman, the Dutch driver. He is the star of the show at the moment. He's absolutely flying. They're in Tottenham in 6th place now that we've lost Seville. So that's another place gained for Craig Dolby. 7th for Liverpool, 8th for Porto, 9th for Galatasaray, and the top 10 rounded out by another Dutch driver. That's Robert Dornbos, ex-F1 driver, and he is now in 10th place ahead of Beijing and PSV, who are in 11th and 12th.
Yes, so back at the front basically now Flamengo is running second with a 6-second gap to Anderlecht and a 4-second advantage on Basel, which is pretty good, and the lap time seems pretty consistent for everybody at the front.
Yeah, so Seville's gone back out on circuit now after that dreadful pit stop. Might as well get out there. Points are obviously vital, and they're all the way through. Let's sit on board for a moment and enjoy the ride here with Davide Rigon. He's coming up to this final chicane. You see the gears flashing down to 3rd on the indicator there. The G-force is going one way, then the other, and then he's onto the pit straight. And it's only a short break and 2 get-down changes coming up.
Yeah, and very consistent lap time now into first. The first corner in 4th.
Oh, back in is the Seville car. Obviously, they sent him on his way, but maybe there were still some concerns. They've changed the wheels.
Yeah, basically what happened is that they went for new tires, but they missed on their pit stop, so there is no point for him to carry on racing and using new tires, so they better save the new tires for the next race and send him back with old tires just to check the car balance and for him to carry on going around and get ready.
Good thinking, yeah. Save those precious tires. You don't want to waste them in a race where you're already in trouble. AC Milan here, Jelmer Berman, who is flying. Look at those fastest lap times in the race. 1:24.7 for Anderlecht, but AC Milan, look at that, 5th, 23.5. So he's sitting in 5th place, but a 1:23.5 is the fastest lap of the race. And on board with Liverpool attacking Tottenham, and he looks as though he's through, but can he finish it off? Yes, he can. What a great move. He used the push to pass, and Dolby, surprisingly, could not defend.
No, very good momentum exiting turn 4, using the push to pass. He was just in front of Craig Dolby and could brake a tiny bit later and still make through the corner around the outside. Great maneuver.
So these two great British clubs in the Premier League fighting throughout Superleague Formula in 2009 and racing hard against one another here in 2010 as well. But it's Liverpool now moving up to 6th place. Tottenham may be struggling a little bit. It does look as though Craig Dolby is not enjoying the sort of performance from the car that he would like to have, and therefore he's had to give that place up. Next one who might go on the attack is Alvaro Parente of Porto.
Again, looking at the move around the outside from James Walker. He had a lot of momentum, braked late and made a clean move on Craig Dolby. Very nice. That'll
give James some confidence, I think. It was a disappointing time at Silverstone. He got caught out a bit in the wet conditions. He hasn't actually driven the car much in the dry this year, but I think that'll give him a boost.
Yeah, for sure. It's always good to overtake Craig Dolby, who's known to be a great overtaker himself.
Yes, that's right. Get one over him. So here we are on board with our race leader, who has a comfortable advantage now. 5.6 seconds is the edge he has. We're back on board with him, watching the gear change, throttle position. This is down at the bottom part of the circuit, feeding the throttle on here. And now, Bruce, we're coming up to the fastest speed on the circuit.
Yeah, 270 kilometers per hour. Small right kink, put the car in the middle of the track and position it flat out through the left hander.
Flat out, even on tyres that have obviously done a few laps. It's
yes.
Not a problem.
No, I've been talking with the drivers down there, and it's easy flat, even though it's pretty bumpy and the car touches the ground.
So still being asked to push, and Anderlecht with this comfortable lead at the moment to 5.4 seconds. There's Basel in 3rd place. Roma still in 4th. Julian Jou's doing a solid job here. AC Milan still looking quick, and Jelmer Berman maybe got even more fired up by that slow stop. But Basel just put in a pretty good lap, a 1:24.8. Good lap at this stage in the race from Max Wissel, who's running in 3rd. Then Liverpool coming through in 6th place. Tottenham in 7th. Definitely struggling a bit though, Craig Dolby, and he's being caught by the blue car of Porto, Alvaro Parente, man from Porto itself, and has been a lifelong Porto supporter. There is the Corinthians car. Last year, of course, being driven by Antonio Pizzonia, who was effectively the top qualifier throughout the 2009 season, but now being driven by Robert Dornbos, the Dutch star ex-F1, ex-Champ Car racer, raced here in Champ Cars back in 2007. So he's got the experience of the circuit on four wheels, unlike many of the other guys here who have been learning it for the first time. On board with Alvaro Parent then, former British F3 winner, World Series champion as well, and a race winner last year in Superleague Formula in his very first race meeting, which was at Estoril. Came through to win that second race. What do you reckon? Is Dolby struggling a bit here?
Yeah, he is, even though the thing is the lap time is not super consistent. He did a 26.9 on the last lap, which is pretty bad compared to the others. And funnily enough, the guys behind him, which are FC Porto and Galatasaray now, Tristan Gomendi, who was struggling at the beginning of the race, he's probably on a better set of tyres now, and he's catching up.
It's all about what tyres you've got to put on at that pit stop, isn't it? Porto through that fast left-hander. They're doing 160 miles an hour pretty much through the corner, which is impressive stuff before they get on the brakes for the chicane. Across the line they come. 12 minutes to go. And as soon as that clock stops ticking in the top left-hand corner of the screen, then the next time the leader crosses the line, they will see the checkered flag. And right now it looks as though it's going to be a pretty clear victory for David Rigon in the Anderlecht car. And it looks as though they could be heading for victory after the club took a win at the end of last year as well at Jarama in Spain. And Dolby is definitely now going to have to start working here to defend this position.
Yeah, and now Gomendi is on fire. Gomendi was nowhere at the beginning of the race, and now it works super well, so probably a bit of a tyre change helped him a lot. FC Porto already on the attack.
Dolby having to defend. Almost, wasn't there a chance there?
Yeah, it was close, and now Gomendi is all over Alvaro Parente.
On board with Tristan Gomendi and the Galatasaray car. Interestingly enough, of course, Bruce, last year he was driving the blue car, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He swapped cars, and he's now chasing his old car.
Yep, so the Porto machine, he took a victory with it last year, and he's had a win in each of the previous seasons of Superleague Formula, Tristan Gomendi, but he's now driving for the great Turkish football club, Galatasaray, and no doubt enjoying himself as part of that as well. And he's closed up to Alvaro Parente over the last couple of laps. Most successful club, Galatasaray, in the history of Turkish football, and now trying to really get on the map in Super League. They did have a victory actually at the end of last year with Ho Pin Tung, the Chinese driver, at the wheel, and now trying to see what they can do here.
Yeah, interesting. And now we're with Naren Kartikeyan, who's right at the back, but still carries on pushing, never gives up.
That's right, yeah, he's always a racer, isn't he? PSV running 12th at the moment in this race, and we'll see whether he can gain any more from that. Beijing 11th, so those two rather further down the order than they would like to be, but it will put them sort of mid-grid for the second race. Remember that the first car out of this race will end up on pole position for race 2, and that is Sporting Lisbon. So Borja Garcia, who went off earlier on, well, he's going to be starting up front. There is your race leader, though. It is Anderlecht. Davide Rigon looking very much in control. He's got a huge advantage, really, in single-seater terms of 5.5 seconds. They're all identical cars, remember. It all comes down to how the team sets up the finer details and how the driver gets the best out of it. He's lost a few tenths on that lap, but I don't think it's anything to worry about.
Nope, but Frank Pereira has lost 1 second on Basil, who's coming back as well. All this group of chasing cars, and here it is AC Milan and Jelmer Berman chasing and closing up this first pack of cars, who's just behind the leader.
Well, back on board with Tristan Gomendi once again, across the line, down towards the first corner. Dolby's managed to make a bit of a break in 7th place for this last lap at least. Maybe Alvaro Parente for Porto is having to look at his mirrors a little bit more. Galatasaray, Tristan Gomendi still looking pretty racy. There's the front of the car, look, that little damage to the nose cone.
It looks like a perfect cut from the nose, which is probably where the piece of the crash box links together, but he probably has plenty of hair inside of the car now.
Yeah, will that be coming up through the cockpit?
It would, yeah, completely, through his legs and up, even up to his helmet, so it might even be a bit of a problem, but for sure he won't be sweating too much. He's been kept cool.
Nice, yeah, absolutely, very good. Temperature here, not too bad. It's 21 degree track temperature, only 13 degrees air temperature, so it's not as if the guys are really struggling for a heat here today. But Galatasaray looking on for a decent result. They had two 14th place finishes like the first time out at Silverstone this year, so this would be a bit of a boost. They'd be up there in the top 10 and with a chance maybe to do more in the second race. He was actually going very well at Silverstone, but they had a problem in that second race which dropped him down the order. He was heading for a podium finish, but unfortunately it didn't end up that way. So Tristan Gomedy now just trying to close up that gap again to Porto. 8 minutes remain. Dolby seems to have settled down now in the Tottenham car. He seemed to lose a bit of pace. Maybe it was simply that Liverpool found some pace, because Walker really at that section of the race was going very quickly. PSV meanwhile, the car being pushed away by the Racing for Holland guys, and it looks as though he's not going to play any further part in this race. And well, that would put him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th on the grid for the second race. You're not allowed to just pull into the pits though and give up, by the way, if you're wondering. If you think, oh, that's easy, you get pole position for the second race by just pulling off early. You're not allowed to do that.
No, you're going to start off again at the back.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that would be hard. Now, there is still a good little battle in prospect here between Flamengo's second place, there he is, Frank Pereira, and look at this, Max Vissel's getting a bit closer in the Basel car.
Yeah, he's getting closer. He made up 1 second on the lap before, and he's now below 2 seconds. Frank Pereira, and they're going to cross the line, and we're going to see another gap. Yeah, 1.5 seconds just behind Frank. Frank who lost about 3/10 on this last lap. It's going to be tight. It's going to be a battle before the end of the race.
Yeah, so I wonder if there's any push to passes left on board that Max Vissel's car. He is an exciting talent, Max Vissel, who's really developed through Super League, because he started in, when he came into the series, this young guy, he hadn't had a lot of experience in big powerful cars, but gradually he's developed it, and last year he was really impressive on several occasions. Winner at Donington, if you remember. There's Narain climbing out of the PSV car. That's a shame for them. But Vissel here, very impressive. Started off the season with that pole position this year at Silverstone. A very, very good, effective start. Ended up finishing 5th in race 1 at Silverstone, 6th in race 2, and finished 2nd in the super final. So he's currently 3rd in the championship table. And of the main championship runners, he's best placed in this race, so good opportunity to score points.
Yeah, good opportunity for him. Yeah, you were saying, I think that before jumping in such a big car, he only did 1600 Formula category, which is very small, and that's why it took him some time to adapt, but he did adapt very well, and he's very competitive now.
Yeah, amazing that he could come out of a 1600cc car into one of these 4.2 litre V12 750 brake horsepower cars and deal with it. But he's young, he's obviously a very talented driver. Meanwhile, we're looking at Alvaro Parent in the middle of this group still, which is all fighting for 7th place. Tottenham holding on to it currently with Craig Dolby. There is, as I say, Parent in 8th place. Galatasaray's Tristan Gomedy is in 9th. Bit of a gap back from these guys to Corinthians. Some 8 seconds, in fact, the gap back to Robert Dornbos for Corinthians. Beijing still sitting in 11th with John Martin. PSV, as we know, have dropped down the order, but they will still be classified 12th because they have come into the pits now. So, and look at this, a little move from Tristan Gomedy, not really close enough. He's just trying to upset Parent's equilibrium, but I don't think Parent's going to fall for that one.
No. But it's always good, because when you make a move, the guy in front of you checked his mirrors, and you get a little bit of his concentration away, which is what you want, basically, to try to make him do a mistake. But they have lots of experience.
They have lots of experience, but he's very close now. I wonder if he's got any push to pass available, because if he has, this could be the time to try it. We saw Walker use it okay down on this section, but no, he's not quite close enough, I think.
No, probably not any left, and lost a bit of time on the braking. Just doesn't want to stay in the tow when he's right into Alvaro's tail. Basically what happens, the wind is taken away from your car, and your car, all those cars are actually working very well with the wind. They need air and wind to be stuck to the ground.
Yeah, that's right. There's a race leader going through. The lead has come down a little bit. Flamengo 2nd, Basel closer in 3rd. 4th place for AS Roma, 5th place for AC Milan, who's sort of settled down now a little bit, not going quite so quickly. He was massively fast on the new tyres after the frustration of that slow pit stop, but he still has got a solid 5th place. but you can see that Flamengo are gradually getting closer to the race leader. Is this Davide Rigon just controlling things, or do you think he may have some problems here?
No, he's just controlling for sure. His lap time is consistent in the 26, mid-26, but he could do 25 easily before, so he's just controlling, taking it easy. But now Basil pushing Flamengo. Flamengo has to push hard. He's lapping in a mid-25, just like Basil and AS Roma and AC Milan. They're all lapping together, but they push each other towards Davide Rigon. There's only 3 minutes left, so it's going to be too short, but it's all going to be very tight on the line.
The 45 minutes is counting down. As you say, only 3 minutes to go in this race now. Let's just take a look back at this. Happened a moment ago. Galatasaray trying to get past Porto. Did he make the move stick? Yes, this time Tristan Gomini got through, and Galatasaray has moved up into 8th place at turn 1.
Yeah, using the push to pass there and having a bit of a tow. Clean move, and I have to say, very clean move from Alvaro Parente, who's a very good and respected driver. Didn't push Tristan Gomandi, didn't defend too badly. So good on the two of them.
Survived to fight in the second race of the day. It's important because, in fact, there are 3 races if you're successful enough, of course. There's a second 45-minute race. There's the super final worth a lot of money, 100,000 euros to the race winner, 75,000 euros to second place. So the most important thing sometimes is to know when to back out of it and keep your car in one piece.
Yeah, exactly. It's a long day, 2 other races to go. Oh, Davide Rigon having a bit of an oversteering moment, exiting the very fast chicane. Minimum speed in that chicane.
Oh, into the pits is Porto. So it wasn't just he was letting him through.
Into the box, engine cover off, please.
A major problem for Alvaro Parente.
Engine cover off doesn't seem good. I hope the car is not going to catch fire.
And look at this, Dolby under pressure from Galatasaray. Tristan Gomini, he's got past Parente, and now he's on a charge. He wants another scalp before the end of this race. Dolby's late on the brakes, though, and just about holds the position. These two still fighting for 7th, but we've lost the blue car, the Porto car, from this, what was a 3-way battle. Parente's in the pit lane. It's Dolby now protecting his 7th place from Tristan Gomini, and the clock is continuing to count down. Less than a minute and a half to go now. So can Dolby keep Tristan Gomini behind him?
I think Dolby is a very good overtaker and a very good defender as well. Track is hard to overtake. Makes it hard to overtake, so it's going to be tough.
Look how much he gained on the last lap, though, over a second on that last lap. Whether Dolby has a problem, I don't know, but he's definitely not lapping at the sort of pace you might have expected, whereas Gomandi's car really working well in the second half of this race. Makes you wonder if maybe that's the tweak for everybody. Just chop the front of the nose cone off and you gain a lot.
Yeah, maybe. No, I think the first set of tyres he probably had was probably bad and in a very bad state, and now that he didn't have anyone in front of him, he could do a very good lap and catch Tottenham very fast.
It looks like we could be on the last lap, depending on when that clock ticks away. Anderlecht leading. He's controlled the latter stages of this race, and he's still got plenty in hand over Flamengo there in second place. What a great return to Super League this is for Frank Pereira as well. The clock ticking away. It's going to be quite a close run thing as to whether this is his last lap or not. He's coming up to the chicane. If the clock goes to 0 before the line, it will be the end of the race. It's going to be tight. Might be worth slowing down here, Davide. Yeah, it's okay. It is the checker flag. He takes the victory in the first race of the day. Anderlecht win.
Well done, well done.
Second Flamengo, third Basil. Very good job from the 3 of them.
Thank you guys, thank you. We had a lot of rain in front, but it was okay, the car was okay.
Second place for Flamengo, third place for Basel. Now what's going to happen? Dolby's going to hold on to 7th position here, I think, from Galatasaray. They've just got the last corner to go. Tristan Gomini's not close enough, and Dolby, well, he'll be relatively happy with that. Having started back on the 7th row, he finishes in 7th place, and Tristan Gomini finishes directly behind. Good drive, though, from Davide Rigon from that pole position. He was in total control.
Yeah, very, very good race. He controlled the race from the beginning till the end. The lap time was always steady, and he did what was needed.
Good effort from FC Basel too, the multicoloured car of Max Wissel. They started further down than they would have liked. They were in 10th place, or 9th place on the grid. and yet they've come through for a podium finish, so an excellent performance from them. But Rigon really enjoying this victory, isn't he? He's a race winner in the past, of course, in Superleague Formula back in 2008 when he drove for Beijing. Won 3 races, in fact, that year. Last year, he only did a couple of events, had a second place at Manicourt, but back on the sort of form we saw in 2008 here.
Yeah, it's back at the top for him. He must be very delighted. He seemed delighted from pole position yesterday already. Also a word of Flamengo, because Frank Pereira did a good job. He hasn't been driving for 9 months. Back into it, straight on the podium, and poor Frank Montagny, who was running second and didn't finish.
So, the result of this race, Anderlecht taking the victory by 2.6 seconds. He controlled the race, but was fairly careful in the closing stages. I don't know, could you hear what he said to the pits? Did he say the tyres were graining, or he made some comment? I don't know what he was saying.
I think he said I got some graining, but the car was okay in the end, so something like that. I'm not quite sure. I think that's what I heard.
So the gap in the end, only 2.6 seconds, although he had a 5.5 second lead at one stage, but he just controlled that. Basil, an excellent third. Roma in fourth. Solid race from Julien Jus, no mistakes. AC Milan, a bit of an up and down race because they were fast, but they had that slow pit stop. Liverpool, good effort that by James Walker, and I think he in particular will be delighted with that performance. Started in 11th place, and then further down the order, Tottenham getting that 7th place from Galatasaray, Corinthians up to 9th. Beijing in 10th place in their return to Super League, and FC Porto, of course, unfortunately out of the race just towards the end there. That really was disappointing for Alvaro Parent. Other guys that didn't make it to the end, most notably, of course, Girondin de Bordeaux, Frank Montagny, who looked set for second at least, maybe even a chance to battle for the win, but it wasn't to be. So the team there to receive the Anderlecht driver, David Rigon. Anderlecht, of course, had a good finish to last year when Jelmer Berman was driving for them. They had victory in race 1 at Jarama, and they had the super final win as well. Remember, this guy, Davide Rigon, is a former champion. He knows what it takes to win races, and he has proved that once again today. Really good stuff from him. Stayed out of trouble. Put up with the pressure. He was under pressure from Frank Montagny at one point, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He made a mistake actually on lap 3, so it shows that he was under pressure. Used the push to pass again, lapped in the 25, created a gap for himself, and then just managed the race all the way and did a very good job.
So he might not have the big Formula 1 experience of someone like Frank Montagny or Robert Dornbos, but he has shown that what he can do here with the Super League car once again. And these guys, well, they'll be getting to work on the car fairly soon. Of course, there's the second race of 45 minutes still to go. By winning race 1, it means he has to start right at the back. Later on, there's Max Wissel, just congratulating him after a superb drive himself. In the background, you can see Frank Pereira about to take his crash helmet off. So he'll be starting right at the back. Let's get down there. Abby Griffiths is with Davide.
Davide, congratulations. You capitalised on pole and led right from the start.
Yes, very well. We are very happy. Say thank you for my team because we had a very good pit stop. I don't know what happens to Frank. He was behind me. We was very close. And then when I saw he was not behind me, I tried to keep the tire for next race because it's important to think about the next now. We are, congratulations for the team. Thank you for everybody.
But you must have a great setup because you were on fire in qualifying, just on a great race. What will that mean for race 2?
Oh yes, now we start for the last, but it will be difficult. We have a good car, we know now what we can improve, so I'm very happy we can get a lot of points also in the second race.
Do you think this track suits your driving style?
Oh yes, maybe yes. Okay, I like this track, I don't know, but now I like now, yes.
Yeah, it absolutely does. Well done.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So celebration starting already as he begins to make his way off to the podium, and really happy and interesting that comment he made about looking after the tyres for the second race. You're always thinking ahead, aren't you, in this game?
Yeah, you have to, because those tyres are so important. You have to save them, and now we see Frank Montagny, who was waiting for the crane to pick him back.
It's not encouraging to see the fact that he's going to have to be lifted back. I mean, it may be a fairly major problem, and will they have time to sort it out? I hope so.
I heard the engine wasn't running, so we'll see.
So victory for Anderlecht, who've had a tremendous season in the Belgian league this year, and they're starting on their Super League season at this second event pretty effectively too. Basel, a solid third place, but for Rigon, that was just the moment that he'd been dreaming of overnight when he knew he was starting from pole position. Always possible, but you still have to deliver on the day, and that's exactly what the 23-year-old Italian from Tiere in Italy, champion in 2008, but he's got himself back in the record books once again here with a victory in the first race at Assen. So everybody will be looking forward to another exciting race coming up a little bit later on, and of course the super final. There is another crucial car from that race, Bruce, that we lost earlier on, the car of Sébastien Bourdais.
Yeah, he was a little bit lucky. The track is quite tight, 3 cars in a row, not working.
No, sadly they didn't make it through into that first corner, and a bit of contact with the Porto car. So this is the situation after the first race of the day here at Assen. Tottenham still leading the points. Basel in second place now, having moved up from third. Flamengo have moved into third. Anderlecht up to fourth there, ahead of Porto, who lost out. Milan in sixth place, then Roma, Olympiacos, and Lyon, of course, dropping down the order as a result of a non-finish. Atletico Madrid in 10th place. Further down the order, we've got Corinthians, who scored useful points, as did Galatasaray, so they've moved up the order a little bit. But poor luck for Bordeaux. They're stuck on 33 points. So let's go over to the podium celebrations now, as the top 3 guys are going to be rewarded with their trophies from that first race. Cars in parc fermé at the moment, but it won't be too long before they'll be descended upon by the teams. And there is Montagni's car being towed back, so at least it didn't need to be lifted back. But maybe it's just an electrical glitch, maybe something just died on the car. Hopefully it won't take them too long to sort that out and get him into the second race here today, and he was very fast, no doubt about it. So up onto the podium, it's Davide Rigon, victory in the first race of the day at Assen. The other guys join him up there, Frank Pereira on the left-hand side, Max Wissel on the right-hand side. The Italian national anthem playing out for Davide Rigon. He's taken the first win for Anderlecht for this season, but of course they were race winners at the last event of last season in the hands of Jelmer Berman. Presentations to be made, and the presentation to third place from Pus Meeuwis, the singer who gave us his rendition of the Dutch national anthem before the race got underway. And handing out the trophy for second place, Hans Willemsen, the president of Ace Racing SA, and that's going to course to Frank Pereira. And he must feel great, having been out of racing for a while. Big opportunity for him to take over the driving duties this weekend. He'll be racing that car at Manicourt in a week's time as well. But the trophy goes to the winner, is handed out by Adrian Bos, president of the board of the TT circuit here at Assen, and that's the trophy that Davide was hoping to get after scoring that pole position yesterday. Well, will he be able to do it again later? He'll be starting from the back of the grid, of course. That's going to make life pretty tough, but he'll try and score points, because the top 6 point scorers out of the 2 races will then be in the super final, when €100,000 prize will go to that super final race winner. There's lots more to look forward to here at the Assen circuit. We'll also be keeping an eye on the progress of Sébastien Bourdais, Frank Montagni, people who could have starred on the podium themselves, but were out of luck in the first race of the day. Superleague Formula has put on an exciting show for this first race. We'll be back a little bit later on with race 2, and then the super final. From Ben Edwards, Bruce Joanny and Abby Griffiths, we'll see you later. Bye-bye for now.